Parents act responsibly for their children. Parents admonish their children to always tell the truth. Parents also fret over improving children's eating habits. Parents also have fun with their children at a weekend farm. Parents also need to remember to act as a positive role model for their teenage kids. Parents also want their children to learn English. Parents always expect better of their children. Parents always tell their children to stop watching TV. Parents and children alike are obsessed with learning foreign languages these days. Parents and children always had problems. Parents and children are treated with an even touch. Parents and children both claim they are not understood. Parents and children, he says, aren't that close. Parents and kids had fun with water guns and pillow fights at the Fountain Plaza. Parents and students were told that the test was cancelled 1 hour before the exam. Parents and teachers often tell you to read many books. Parents are always anxious for their children to get on. Parents are always asking their children if they have done their homework. Parents are angry at Junction Elementary School in Seoul. Parents are anxious for the welfare of their children. Parents are anxious to the welfare of their children. Parents are apt to expect too much of their children. Parents are calling the new rule extreme and ludicrous. Parents are concerned about their kids. Parents are entitled to 13 weeks parental leave to be taken during the first 5 years of a child's life. Parents are ever fearful for their children. Parents are facing higher expenses for their children's private education. Parents are getting in on the action, too. Parents are in a bind because there's pushback. Parents are indeed glad for their child to have high grades. Parents are keeping children indoors, driving them stir-crazy. Parents are naturally anxious for their children. Parents are not in a position to quit. Parents are obligated to nurture their children. Parents are obligated to support their children. Parents are obliged by law to send their children to school. Parents are often unaware that their child has an internet problem until it is serious. Parents are permitted to work part-time for a stint after the birth of a child. Parents are right 99 times out of 100. Parents are supposed to answer for their kids' behavior. Parents are their child's primary role models. Parents are turning to no-frills private schools as the recession hits middle-class families. Parents are wondering about the quality of the school food. Parents are worried about school food. Parents arrange a formal date between their children. Parents arrested for leaving children home alone. Parents at Hanover High are angry that the school called the police. Parents at the school, which is very close to where I live, are up in arms and very voluble. Parents attended the commencement of their sons and daughters from high school. Parents' birthdays can be a real can of worms. Parents blame schools for not keeping a careful eye on campus. Parents boast about their children getting drunk. Parents can celebrate the joy of new life. Parents can choose a school system for their children. Parents can enjoy their weekends with their children. Parents can feel like they have become young again. Parents can guide kids to play games in moderation. Parents can help the situation by trying harder to understand their children. Parents can impose a limit on how long their children can play computer games. Parents can keep track of children using smartphones. Parents can opt out of the program, but so far fewer than 2% have. 2%. Parents can send their child to school a year earlier or later, if they so choose. Parents can take care of their children better than anyone else. Parents can unwittingly transmit their own fears to their children. Parents' concern for their children. Parents could afford to give more to one child than to many children. Parents' Day is celebrated every May 8 in Korea. Parents' Day is celebrated on the fourth Sunday of July in the U.S. Parents' Day is celebrated on the fourth Sunday of July. Parents' Day is coming. Parents' Day makes us think about our parents. Parents' Day was originally called Mother's Day. Parents determine how their children become. Parents determine the life a child will lead. Parents did already worse for good of his children. Parents do have an influence on a teen's decision. Parents do not have to accompany their kids to Shrek 2. Parents do not think that way. Parents do not want their children to see smut. Parents do not want to send their children somewhere to study right now. Parents don't know what their children do when they're out of their sight. Parents don't want their children to lag behind in school. Parents don't want to be a burden on their kids. Parents emphasize that children should be independent. Parents face myriad problems bringing up children. Parents favor co-ed schools now. Parents fear that their children won't fit in if they are too short. Parents feed and clothe their children. Parents felt they must enroll their children in English language preschools to keep up with other children in the district. Parents filled the auditorium. Parents get angry because of the pinkification of toys. Parents get involved and arrange a formal date between their children. Parents had to harm their own children to save their lives. Parents have a hard time as well. Parents have a soft spot for their children. Parents have a strong influence in determining whether their children become juvenile delinquents. Parents have a way of making their children regress. Parents have affection for their children. Parents have an obligation to nurture their children. Parents have authority over their children. Parents have been complaining about plain movies. Parents have forgotten what it is like to be young. Parents have good reason to love their children. Parents have high expectations of us. Parents have nothing on which to rely. Parents have obviously hit the roof. Parents have responsibility for their children under 20 years of age. Parents have started hiring Chinese tutors and sending their children to Chinese language academies. Parents have the custody of their young children. Parents have the right to chastise their own children. Parents have the right to protect their children. Parents have to be teaching their kids about sex. Parents have to pay more attention to their children. Parents have to work all year round. Parents have to work hard to save money. Parents hurried into town to stock up on gas. Parents know what is best for their children. Parents like this neighborhood because there are good schools in the district. Parents live in fear until their children are safely home. Parents' love is as deep as the ocean. Parents love to boast about their children's accomplishments. Parents loves their children without limit. Parents may think that kids should focus on their studies. Parents may well love their children. Parents miss staying out late past curfew. Parents must attend to the education of their children. Parents must be firm with their children. Parents must be stronger, schools need discipline. Parents must bring shot records for children 15 and under. Parents must pay for private institutes, too. Parents must set an example for their children to follow. Parents must set aside time to listen to their children. Parents' natural desire to protect their children should be counterbalanced by the child's need for independence. Parents need help around the house. Parents need to be aware of the power of the box. Parents need to control their kids. Parents need to know to be watchful. Parents need to let their children grow up in a more stable environment. Parents need to look after their kids. Parents need to step up to the plate when it comes to their children. Parents need to think of better methods of parenting than embarrassing their children. Parents normally rent out a special party venue. Parents normally rent out a special party Venus to accommodate the guests. Parents of young children should make a regular habit of taking their children to nearby parks or play areas. Parents often expect their children to do better than they did. Parents often fall into the trap of trying to do everything for their children. Parents often feel guilty when their child makes an error. Parents often give presents to their children. Parents often have good ideas for how to solve a problem. Parents often make great sacrifices for their children. Parents often overreact about situations like this. Parents often speak with college prep experts. Parents often want it both ways. Parents often worry if their kids stay out too late. Parents pass DNA to their offspring. Parents pay millions in tuition for English preschools. Parents place some demands on their kids. Parents place various objects in front of the baby. Parents play a vital role in their children's education. Parents prefer organic foods because they don't want their children to eat chemical substances. Parents prepare special food and decorate their houses. Parents push their children to pick up second languages at a very young age. Parents put a lot of effort into raising kids. Parents reacted to the news with shock and anger. Parents really should raise a stink about violence on children's TV shows. Parents said they were not worrying at the moment. Parents see the CTC program as a great opportunity for their children. Parents seem to be exasperated by the frequency of the changes to the college entrance system. Parents should accept their children as individuals. Parents should accept their children as they are. Parents should be fair to all their children. Parents should carefully monitor their kids and look for signs of substance use. Parents should control what their kids watch on television. Parents should let kids play with toy guns. Parents should let their kids play with toy guns. Parents should make sure their children have good spam mail filters. Parents should not be punished for trying to give them that. Parents should not see their children as subordinate. Parents should not view their children as subordinate. Parents should now teach their kids to avoid strangers online as well. Parents should serve as role models for their children. Parents should set an example for their children. Parents should set an example for their children. Parents should teach their children to have more respect for others. Parents should think carefully before spending so much money on these schools. Parents shouldn't encourage bad behavior by acting wrong themselves. Parents showed a solid understanding of the fundamentals. Parents spank their children all the time. Parents still a major influence on teens. Parents take children out to popular places like amusement parks. Parents take their offspring to amusement parks, movies, zoos, and other child-oriented venues. Parents take turns warming their eggs. Parents these days are so busy. Parents think that English education is helpful. Parents trust that you are watching over their children. Parents used to send their children abroad at an early age. Parents usually have a say in choosing their children's spouse. Parents usually like organic food because they don't want to feed their children chemicals. Parents voted with their feet and moved their children to schools where there is better discipline. Parents want the best for their children. Parents want their children to have names that sound okay in English as well as Korean. Parents want their son or daughter to marry a good person from an upstanding family. Parents want to know the sex of an unborn child before the infant is delivered. Parents was overjoyed at my success. Parents went to sacrament to celebrate their children. Parents were guilt-ridden that perhaps their own actions had ruined their daughter's health. Parents were home at that time. Parents were home at the time. Parents were invited to air their grievances at the meeting. Parents who are always giving their children nothing but the best usually wind up with nothing but the worst. Parents who have children have to be careful because the kids sneak off and do dangerous things. Parents who have had the onerous task of bringing up a very difficult child. Parents who overprotect their children do so because they want to. Parents who smoke should think about their kids' health. Parents who take an interest in their children's education are well aware of the potential benefits. Parents who work away find it particularly useful. Parents who work late at night will be able to leave their children with night kindergarten services. Parents who work late will have a safe place to leave their children. Parents whose political views were nurtured in the 60s. 60. Parents will be held responsible for their children's behavior. Parents will feel pressured to leave their young children in early education schools. Parents will go through hell and high water for their kids. Parents will like the reasonable prices. Parents will pay for private lessons. Parents will put their faith in their kids. Parents with kids in same-sex classrooms have noticed an improvement in their children's grades. Parents with kids often have to travel heavy. Parents worry about their children the whole time. Parents would know more about their kids. Parents, our children are out of control. Parents, practice patience today for an abundant payoff when your kids become adults. Parents, teach your children. Parents, teachers should unite to root out bullying. Parents, teachers, and friends congratulate them for successfully finishing their studies. Parents, too, do not have much time to spare, so school uniforms save them time. Parents, what are you gonna do? Parents, who are unable to conceive naturally, could still have a genetically related child.